Hi, boys and girls. It's Mrs. Tento. I'd like to read you a book that's one of my children's favorites when they were growing up. It's called The Quiltmaker's Gift, and it is written by Jeff Brumbeau and Gail Marcken. And this book won the Book of the Year winner for, let's see what year, it doesn't say, but it won the Book of the Year. It is an amazing book with amazing pictures, but what's the most amazing and best part of this book is the story behind it and what it teaches us and how we should behave. It's a great book. If my kids loved it, I think you'll love it. Here we go. I'm going to take the cover off. Oh my goodness, look at this, boys and girls. Inside the cover is a secret. Can you find these things? Such fun. And my boy and girl, they loved looking for those things. And then inside on the front pages are different types of quilts, since this is about a quilt maker. Let me get to the pages we need to get to. And let's see what the title page looks like. There is our title page. And let's see what the dedication page is. Oh, for Marcia, who with the gift of herself has given me everything. That is beautiful. And there's the copyright side. And this is the dedication page. So let's, without further ado, go on to our glorious story. And I'll make sure your pictures are showing. There once was a quilt maker who kept a house in the misty mountain up high. Even the oldest great-great-grandfather could not recall a time when she was not up there sewing away day after day, here and there and everywhere, wherever the sun warmed the earth. It was said that she made the prettiest quilts anyone had ever seen. The blues seemed to come from the deepest part of the ocean, the whites from the northernmost snows, the greens and purples from the abundant wildflowers, the reds, oranges, and pinks from the most wonderful sunsets. And I have to show you the other side because she is living in a glorious place with beautiful colors. All right, let's turn the page and go on to the next one. Some said that there was magic in her fingers. Some whispered that the needles and cloth were the gifts of the bewitched. And still others said the quilts really fell to earth from the shoulders of passing angels. And many people climbed her mountain, pockets bursting with gold, hoping to buy one of the wonderful quilts. But the woman would not sell them. "Oh, I give my quilts to those who are poor or homeless," she told all who knocked on her door. "They are not for the rich." On the darkest and coldest nights, and here's the picture, the woman would make her way down the mountain to the town below. There she would wander the cobblestone streets until she came upon someone sleeping outside in the chill. Then she would take a newly finished quilt from her bag, wrap it around their shivering cold shoulders, and tuck them in tight and tiptoe away. Then the very next morning, with a steaming cup of blackberry tea, she would begin a new quilt. And here, if you look closely, are some of the pictures of her and the people she helped. And on to the next page. Well, now at this time there also lived a very powerful and greedy king who liked nothing better than to receive presents. The hundreds of thousands of beautiful gifts he got for Christmas and his birthday were never enough. So a law was passed that the king would celebrate his birthday twice a year. When that still wasn't enough, he ordered his soldiers to search the kingdom for those few people who had not yet given him a gift. Over the years, the king had come to own almost all of the prettiest things in the world throughout the castle from top to bottom, in drawers and on shelves, in boxes and trunks, and closets and sacks. All of the king's countless things were stashed. And there's some of them on this page. And the people bring all their gifts to the king's castle. My. Things that shimmered, things that glittered and glowed, things whimsical and practical, things mysterious and magical. So many things that the king kept a list of all the lists of the things that he owned. And wait till you see this king. He is overwhelmed by, I would call him King Thing, or the king of things. Oh my goodness, does he look happy to you? Does it look like he is having fun all by himself, playing with all that stuff? Ooh, I don't know, it's kind of fun to look at, but boy, I would hate to have to take care of it all. What a burden. Anyway, we'll read our story with no further comments from me. And yet, with all these marvelous treasures, the king never smiled. He was not happy at all. Ooh, somewhere there must be one beautiful thing that will finally make me happy, he was often heard to say, and I will have it. One day a soldier rushed into the palace with news about a magical quilt maker who lived in the mountains. The king stamped his foot. And how is it this person has never given me one of her quilts as a gift, he demanded. She only makes them for the poor, your majesty, the soldier replied, and she will not sell them for any amount of money. Well, we shall see about that, the king roared. Bring me a horse and 1,000 soldiers, and they set off in search of the quilt maker. But when they arrived at her house, the quilt maker merely laughed. Oh, my quilts are for the poor and needy, and I can easily see that you are neither. I want one of those quilts, the king demanded. It might be the one thing that will finally make me happy. Ooh. Here's a picture of the king grumping about all what he thinks he needs now. There he is. Oh my goodness. The woman thought a moment. Make presents of all you own, everything you own, she said, and then I'll make a quilt for you. With each gift that you give, I'll sew another piece. When at last all your things are gone, your quilt will be finished. Give away my wonderful treasures, cried the king. I don't give things away. I take them. And with that, he ordered his soldiers to seize the beautiful star quilt from the quilt maker. But when they rushed upon her, she tossed the quilt way out the window, and a great gust of wind carried it up, and away. Ooh, and here he is telling her what's what. All right. Well, the king was now very angry. He marched the woman down through town and up another mountain where he had his royal iron makers shape a thick bracelet of iron Then they chained her to a rock in a deep, dark cave of a sleeping bear. And once more the king asked for a quilt, and once more she refused. Very well, then, the king replied. I'll leave you here, and when the bear awakens, I'm sure he will make a very fine breakfast of you. Oh, here's a picture of of her being marched up the hill. There they go. And there she is. There's the bear. Oh, I can't wait to see what the next page says. Later, when the bear's eye, whoops, let's see what happened. Did I turn the right page? Yep. Later, when the bear's eyes opened and he saw the woman in his cave, he stood up on his mighty hind legs and gave a roar that rattled her bones. She looked up at him and sadly shook her head. Oh, it's no wonder you're so grouchy, the Quiltmaker said. You've nothing but rocks on which to rest your head at night. Bring me an armful of pine needles, and with my shawl, I'll make you a great big pillow. And that is what she did. No one had ever been so kind to the bear before, so he broke the iron bracelet and asked her to spend the night. Well, my goodness, a slumber party with a bear. Now, although the king was very good at being greedy, he was very bad at being mean. All that night, he could not sleep for thinking about the poor woman in the cave. Oh my, what have I done? He wailed. So he woke up his soldiers, and they all marched in their pajamas up to the cave to save her. But when they arrived, the king found the Quiltmaker and the bear having a breakfast of berries and honey. And here they are, all those soldiers in their PJs, and the king and the Quiltmaker. Now the king completely forgot about feeling sorry and became angry all over again. He ordered the royal island makers to build an island barely big enough for the woman to stand on her tiptoes. Once again, the king asked her for a quilt, and once again, she said no. Very well, said the king, as he replied. Tonight, when you are too tired to stand and lie down to sleep, you'll drown. And the king left her alone on the tiny island. Shortly after he left, the Quiltmaker saw a sparrow flying across the great lake. A cold, fierce wind was blowing, and it did not look like the poor bird would make it to shore. The Quiltmaker called him, and he stopped to rest on her shoulder. The poor, tired sparrow was shivering, so the woman quickly made him a coat from scraps of her purple vest. When she was warmed and the wind had stopped, the bird flew off, but he was very grateful to the Quiltmaker for what she had done. Soon the sky darkened as the air filled with a huge cloud of sparrows, thousands of wings beating together. They swooped down, lifted the woman off in their tiny little beaks, and carried her safely ashore. Again that night, the king could not sleep for thinking about the woman alone on the island. Oh my, what have I done? He moaned. So he woke up his sleepy soldiers again, and they marched in their pajamas down to the lake to set the woman free. But when they arrived, she was sitting on a tree limb, sewing tiny purple coats for all of the sparrows. I give up, the king shouted. What must I do for you to give me a quilt? There he is, tossing and turning. And look at what the Quiltmaker is doing. I said, the woman answered, give away all of the things you own, and I'll sew a quilt for you. And with each gift that you give, I'll add another piece to your quilt. No, I can't do that, cried the king. I love all my wonderful, beautiful things. But if they don't make you happy, the woman replied, then what good are they? Ooh, that's true, the king sighed, and he thought about what she had said for a long, long time. So long that weeks went by. Oh, all right, he finally muttered. If I must give away my treasures, then no, I must. And we will finish this on the next session. See you at part 2.